Simmons has uncovered a history that connects the school to some of America's greatest thinkers.
A press conference was held today
History-making partnership.
announcing a partnership between Simmons College and Jefferson County Public Schools.
Teacher shortage. There is teacher shortage across America. The research is really clear.
And I can see how Simmons plays such a critical role.
To the need for minority teachers.
Partnership intentionally designed to build more minority teachers.
Simmons is not just a school. We have a rich history. We have
How important this partnership is going to be in helping to correct a historic wrong and towards
underrepresented minorities.
We have to do better. I believe this program is the beginning of something that could be really special.
You're looking at the historic campus of Simmons College of Kentucky, one of our nation's 101 historic black colleges and universities. Established in 1879, it still stands today majestically in the heart of our city as a nationally accredited institution of higher learning. The list of influential African Americans connected to this institution reads like a who's who of black history, including Ida B. Wells, Booker T. Washington, Samuel Plato, and Charles Parrish Jr. A member of the fraternity of HBCUs across the country with an amazing record of success, HBCUs produce 70% of all African American dentists and doctors, 50% of our nation's African American teachers, and 80% of all African American judges graduated from an HBCU. And one thing I know for certain, our great city of Louisville will not reach her full potential without a great HBCU. We need Simmons to flourish. How did HBCUs come to fill such a valuable role in American life? To answer that question, listen to the words found in the Life and Times of Booker T. Washington, written in 1916. On its own initiation, the freed race began to found schools. About 5% of the emancipated people could read and write, and these were not slow to inject that spirit into the rest of their people. Some of the former slaves who had heard of colleges and universities aspired to found such for their people. The most remarkable instance occurred at Louisville, Kentucky, succeeding the close of the war in 1865. And though bearing the marks of slavery on their bodies, took steps to begin a place of learning, which came to be known as a large and flourishing college for colored people, which stands today in Louisville, in the heart of that city. From that early time until now, it has done excellent work, not alone for the colored race, but for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and is still a great educational lighthouse to a struggling people.
One of the objectives of Simmons College is to create a stellar teacher education program that will recruit and train teachers for JCPS, in fact, hopefully for the entire state of Kentucky.
To have a workforce that was a direct reflection of our student population, we were going to have to take some significant steps. And the work that Simmons is doing, I knew that HBCUs, with the number of teachers they produce nationally, that was a direct partnership that could have a dramatic influence.
Not to appreciate what we have with Simmons here in the city of Louisville is the equivalent of San Antonio not appreciating the Alamo.
It helps all of those. It helps the entire community. It helps an individual to be able to gain an education, to be able to advance in his or her life. To the extent those individuals live in a city, they impact the educational attainment level of the city, state, and the nation.
Research is very clear that when an African American student has at least one African American teacher, the likelihood of them being successful dramatically increases. We really want to develop this pipeline where every single year in the future we're going to have hundreds.
Create chances for every student who lives in West Louisville who wants to get a college education. In other words, let them know they can change the world.
It isn't so much just the HBCU, it is the ability to have leadership that is willing to take on that self-governance and challenge the boundaries of society. Dr. Cosby is instrumental and has provided the idea of how will you restart the black identity through the black church in a way we haven't seen since Dr. King.
Let me tell you, I think part of the reason Simmons is growing is, number one, it has a great leader. a visionary leader, but behind that leader are a lot of hard-working individuals who are committed to the success of every student. And I think that what has maybe come full circle is what those founding fathers and mothers for those institutions saw. Many in the country are now seeing that anew.
I'm Jackie Ball-Moore, Vice President of the Eula May and John Ball Foundation. Although we're located in Texas, over the last 4 years, we've made grants that exceed $500,000 to Simmons College of Kentucky.
As you say, I served as president of Kentucky State. To my understanding from the most recent economic impact study, Kentucky State has an annual impact of $100 million poured into the Frankfurt economy. And what we're talking about here is giving Simmons that same kind of opportunity.
You have to look at it through the lens of being able to go to Simmons College, be a first-generation college student, and graduate without any debt, and how that actually propels you to have some level of opportunity inside of society.
You want to look at the end in mind. Like, I don't want to be so overwhelmed, and then you can't really focus on your career and, you know, the new future that you have. They just straight out just told you, like, you know, student loans is not really something that we want to encourage.
And part of the way we grow and develop is that we emulate what we see. Seeing African Americans in charge, in control, is really very important.
And it challenged me not only in my academia, but also with really having more self-discoveries. And it's like, wow, you know, like, I not only have trauma that my ancestors had experienced and I've been affected by it, but I'm also honored to be here. And I think that it really helped you as an individual to see how important you are, you know, in our history.
Well, the beautiful thing about HBCUs is that it has bipartisan support. Interestingly enough, the Trump administration helped pass through Congress the Futures Act, which secured perhaps more money for HBCUs than any other president in history. All of the Democratic candidates expressed a commitment to support HBCUs at unprecedented levels. For example, Elizabeth Warren is proposing $50 billion. Joe Biden committed to $70 billion. So based on the percentage that we get right now through Title III funding, somewhere in the neighborhood of $80 to $90 million would be coming to this city.
It would have a tremendous impact. If you could imagine, Simmons' operating budget today is about $5 million. If you had that kind of money in this hub of economic activities, it really is hard to imagine what you could not achieve, because you got the resources to be able to implement the ideas that you come up with to help students to be successful.
Giving to HBCUs is not charity. Giving to HBCUs is an investment. You show me a community that has an HBCU, I will show you economic vitality, diversity, kids of color who have new aspirational role models. It is a win for the city. Simmons College of Kentucky, without question, is the greatest institution that has been created by blacks in the history of the state of Kentucky. It is without peer.